What's good, Jimmy?
What's happening, brother? How are you?
I'm doing amazing, man. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I still haven't heard back from the bank yet since that counter offer.
Oh,
As far as the higher ups, I called the guy I talked to face to face, and he said he still hasn't heard, but everything's still good. So that's
nice.
yeah, so that's the latest for this week.
Dude, that 6%, man, you got to beat that 6%. That's kind of high.
It is high, and I might take a look around too. Like I
Yeah.
think initially he was at like 5.8 or something along those lines, but and it all comes down to like that's not money that I'm gonna like I had tried to explain to you. It has to be reused. You know what I mean? It's not. I'm gonna set it somewhere at 8% and beat the 6%. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
to make that work, you have to beat inflation right there. You're at 9%. You'd have to be getting 12% on your money to even make it worth it. So it has to be a situation where that money can be taken out
Yeah, for
and
sure.
reused somehow. Yeah. How was your week?
Dude, my week was amazing, bro. It's been pretty hectic. Been super busy.
That's good though.
It's really good. Yeah. I've been on the phones all day. What's going on, Pat?
What up, Hunter?
Good to see you, man. I don't know where everyone's at. They got cold feet when they heard Pat was coming. They're like, oh man, can't show my
What's
face
going on,
now.
man? Oh, I can hear you now. Now we're good.
Love it. Yeah. How was your day, Pat?
Oh, it's good.
That's good, man.
We're gearing up for Connect next Thursday. Putting on one of those is just a little more labor intensive than you would think. Just making sure they're good.
Yeah. Are you guys planning on doing it monthly?
Yep. Yeah, we used to before coronavirus. We did a monthly.
Right. So you guys are bringing it back full time?
Have you ever been to one before?
No. No, because I moved up here in July.
Okay.
So
During all this, so
yeah, you guys weren't doing it. But one thing though I will say is that not only do I cold call sellers, but also agents as well. And just about every agent that I talk to, like when I first got here, they're like, have you heard of Yellowbird? Like you got to go on and check out the Facebook page, the website. They're great. I was like, wow. So that's how I first heard about you guys, was just simply being in the crowd, you know?
awesome.
Everyone was talking about you, saying good stuff. So
Cool, man. I mean, good reputation, so that's good to hear.
yeah, for
You
real.
look a lot like my nephew, Chris Smith in Idaho, who is my favorite nephew. So right off
Hey.
the bat, kudos to you,
Hope
man.
Hey, if I can live up to Chris Smith in Idaho. What is this? I mean, is this? Are you guys all over the country? Are you guys mostly in Jacksonville?
No, I'm in Michigan.
Okay,
I'm in
I'm in
Michigan.
New Orleans,
awesome.
We have people in Florida, Jimmy's in
California.
Michigan, California.
Mississippi.
Alaska.
Yeah. Yeah, Hunter's done he's done an amazing job facilitating this group, maintaining the group and getting people to come in. So it's been
Not
good.
easy. Not
Yeah.
easy. It's a lot of work to put something together like this. Even just a simple Zoom call.
Yeah.
Coordinated. I'm sure you know.
Yeah.
It's a bitch being consistent with it too.
Yeah, so consistent, especially when you're not getting like the feedback that you might expect or want. And it's just like, oh, what am I doing this for, you know? But
keep fighting the good fight, man.
yeah,
You're doing a great job, Hunter.
thanks.
We appreciate you.
Thanks. All because of you guys. Well, cool. This meeting is being recorded. I was planning on posting it on YouTube. Hope you're cool with that, Pat.
Absolutely.
Okay, love it, man. So I guess we'll go ahead and get started. And for those who are not here tonight, unfortunate for them, but that's okay. They'll have to just watch it later. So just to give you a little background, Pat, the Investment Mindset Book Club just recently merged with another Facebook group book club. So we've read 3 books all combined together. Jennifer White is the leader of so we actually took the name of the Investment Mindset Book Club, and Jenny was the leader of that. So we combined, we got our people together, we joined forces like with a Facebook group and a group chat and everything. So we've just grown after that. We've read 3 books together with them. And then before that, I actually started the book club in November, and we read around 8 books just off the top of my head all together. Jimmy's been here since day one. He's kind of been like the co-host. He's a rock star. So yeah, it's been a real good time. So that's just kind of the backstory of the book club. And then, yeah. So for those of you guys who don't know Pat Flynn, he is the owner of Yellowbird, an industry leader in the Jacksonville real estate market. With over 15 years of experience, they've purchased over 4,000 homes, built a rental portfolio of over 1,100 doors, have lent over $50 million in hard money, and are flipping over 30 homes per month, and much, much more. Aside from the
Wowzers.
success they've had in business, they have created the most positive and well talked about real estate community here in Jacksonville, a Facebook group with over 5,000 members, and host networking meetings with sought after guest speakers every single month. A man of integrity, someone that I really look up to. Please welcome Pat Flynn.
Man, thank you for that, Hunter. Hunter asked me a couple weeks ago to do this because we actually just finished up our first deal together. Worked out really good, and we were kind of chatting about it. Yeah. And I mentioned, I see him put this stuff up on Facebook, and I know you guys were reading Darren Hardy's The Compound Effect, and I'm a big reader. Tribute a lot of the successes and changes I've made in my life to reading. So I love what Hunter's doing with this. And when I saw they were reading this book, I commented that of all the books I've read in the past 2 years, which, probably 60 plus, Compound Effect is my top 5. I loved it. I like Darren Hardy as a writer, and it just makes so much sense, the simplicity of it. What I wanted to go into first was, I wanted to talk about Hunter running this book club. I feel like stuff like this is the most important thing you can possibly do, is grow yourself by reading and getting new perspectives, even if you don't agree with them. I run my own book club, actually. We call it Sequoia Club. Sequoia trees are huge and never stop growing, and it's internal to the people at Yellowbird. Yellowbird, we have 12 employees at this point, and everyone is voluntold to be a part of the book club. Pretty much everyone is involved in it. Some people skip books here and there, but this is something we do internally at Yellowbird, and it's one of my favorite things that we do. And the team members at Yellowbird really are on board with it. At first, they get on me and be like, "Oh, book club, that sounds stupid," but then they got involved in it. And now everyone's all about it. Like the leadership, a different person leads each time the discussion, and it's phenomenal. And it creates a stronger team, and you guys are becoming stronger by being a part of this too. You're getting new perspectives on the world, and you're constantly changing, and it's just, you cannot do a better thing for your own personal growth or your wealth building than reading, in my opinion. All of my success is attributed to that. So moving on to my comments on the compound effect. I run a small mentorship group quarterly. I get, 5 guys and girls that wanted to get into wholesaling and flipping and finding deals. And I make them read 2 books during that quarter. One is The Compound Effect, and one is Never Split the Difference, a book on negotiation.
Fantastic.
The group is called the P-Pod, and P-Pod stands for Progress Through Execution and Accountability. So it really is just an accountability group. in real estate, what they say and what I see a lot is enthusiasm is common, but endurance is rare. You scroll Facebook and all you see is every single guru selling you a course on how you can make a couple cold calls and get $100,000 wholesale, right? It's just, anyone that's done the grind and done the work knows that that's not the case. Investing in real estate, and especially deal finding, is very unsexy. You have to be a grinder, and you have to have grit to push through and get that. And there's no secret sauce. It's all about consistency and compounding. So what we do in the Peapod is I have them read Compound Effect right away, talk about the power of things compounding, and then I have them commit to whatever it is, 20 hours of cold calling, talking to 100 people. It really doesn't matter, right? Darren Hardy says in the book, it doesn't matter, how big or how small you start. Actually, you should start smaller so you can stay consistent with it. And those actions over time, compounded every week. I tell them, if you consistently do this every week, whether it's 10 hours of cold calling, sending out this many mailers, doing 10 hours of deal machine, you do that every single week for the rest of the year, and you tell me you can't find a deal, something is wrong with you, right? Then come to me and we'll fix it. It's got to be your approach or something. The grit to push through the hard times. They think it's going to be easy, and it's not. So the compound effect is the theory behind success, any sort of success in life, whether he talks about whatever it is, brushing your teeth, eating well. It's the little things compounded over time that make people successful. So that's pretty much all I got. Hunter.
I love it. I love it, Pat. I love it. Dude, you said so many great things there. And I didn't know that you also host the accountability group as well, because I think that accountability is probably one of the number one things, to keep yourself going, because, you do these things every single day, but if you don't have anyone holding you accountable, it's really easy to slip up on yourself,
It's so easy. And it's even easy in the accountability group. Like a lot of times we have to have tough conversations because, like I said, enthusiasm for this space is common because they see on Facebook, like people posting checks, $60,000, $70,000 wholesale, no money down. And it's like, God, the work it takes to get a flip like that is just, they don't talk about the work it takes. It really is discouraging sometimes. Yeah. So being pushed in a group every week, and if you know that people are looking at your numbers on the sheet in front of everyone every week, it really pushes you to get through it. And there's a reason I do it every quarter. I don't know if you guys have read Atomic Habits yet.
They have, yeah.
I just bought it.
It's great. So it talks about 66 days to form a habit. That's why I do it quarterly. So my goal is for at the end of the quarter with these people that are in the Peapod, these are now habits in their lives that they've taken on. They've forced it because of the extreme accountability every week. And it sets them up to do great things, whether they want to keep their main job and just wholesale 6 houses a year, make 20 grand. I mean, you can make a great living doing that, and it can be a great side hustle, but getting those habits in place and doing the grind is tough.
Exactly. 100%. And also you mentioned starting small to keep it ongoing. One little goal that I mentioned that we're all going to talk about later is running. I decided to run 2.5 miles at minimum every single day. And it's really taxing. It's a lot of running. And I think I might need to adjust it a little bit because it's a ton. That's definitely not starting small at all. But Pat, so if you don't mind, I really appreciate you sharing your thoughts, man. And I just wanted to ask you a few questions. And then if anybody here has any questions for Pat, go ahead and I don't think there's a raise your hand function here, but if they're maybe in the chat or something, write question or something, I'll go ahead and call on you and then just go ahead and ask your question. But Pat, I wanted to start off kind of at the roots, man, to get to know you a little more because I got you hostage here. So what got you into real estate?
I went to a school most people probably never heard of. It's called Kings Point U.S. Merchant Marine Academy. I played rugby there. Also just happened by chance to be the school that Robert Kiyosaki went to. That's his alma mater, and he was a Kings Point Rugger as well. So I've always kind of felt that I knew who he was, didn't really know what his deal was, but he comes and speaks at Kings Point once every few years because his alma mater, he just comes for free and talks to the seniors. And I was lucky enough to be a senior when he came and talked. And it's a pretty small school. I graduated with like 175 kids. So he spoke to my senior class, 175 of us. I got to go up and meet him after. It was really cool. And that talk really planted the seed.
Sure.
You know, I had always been into money and wealth. I enjoyed it, but didn't really know much about it. Didn't come from a money or wealth background. And that planted the seed I read his book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, after meeting him, and just didn't stop reading. So I sailed merchant marine and on drilling rigs for a bunch of years after school, but was doing real estate on the side, buying rentals. Got super lucky on a couple flips during the downturn, pure dumb luck, made a bunch of money off them, but only because I graduated college in 2009. So the bottom of the market, right?
Wow,
and I bought a couple things and made money, not because I'm skilled or anything like that.
Just rode that sucker
luck.
up.
Moved to Jacksonville and bought a couple rentals at the beach, pure dumb luck, made some good money off them, and then got real purposeful about it in 2016. And then full-time in the beginning of 2017.
Awesome. Most people can attribute their success
Wow.
from reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad, but you freaking met the guy, dude. You
Also luck.
Yeah.
Right? He happened to go to the same college I did, and happened to speak there once in a while.
Dude,
So
no wonder,
I didn't seek it out.
That's awesome. That's so cool. So yeah, so then you mentioned that you moved to Jacksonville. I wanted to know why Jacksonville?
I have a good answer there, Hunter. I come from a small, crappy rural town in Western Massachusetts, and I was sailing at the time, so it didn't matter where I lived. I'd travel to the ship, and I worked 9-10 months a year, and then I'd kind of come home or travel a little bit, live in my parents' basement, and I was just like, I need to get out of here. And I had a good buddy from school. I just moved into a house on 19th Avenue North, 1 block from the ocean.
Oh, sweet.
In Jack's Beach, and I moved down to Jack's Beach and never looked back from there. I just love it down here. Now I'm married with 2 kids. I was single then.
I bet you've seen a lot of chains in Jack's Beach. Just
There
in that,
has, man.
yeah, just in that short time.
Unbelievable change.
Yeah.
I feel like an old man going, oh, you should have seen what it used to be like down here. But
So that was in 2016 then, and when you moved to Jack's?
2013.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool. So like 8 years ago.
Yep.
Awesome.
So you're like 28 years old?
I'm 33. I'll be 34.
33.
I
Young
graduated
guy.
college in 09.
Love it,
You are
dude.
not an old man.
I appreciate it, Amanda.
So Pat, who was your first hire?
My first hire, her name was Ainsley. I had no idea what I was doing. I had never hired anybody before. I had managed people offshore. I mean, who's from New Orleans here? I don't know if you know guys that work offshore on drilling rigs.
Mike.
But I managed that sort of person, which I was very good at. I was good at managing Texans, South Louisiana boys, get her done type people. You manage them differently than you do someone in an office environment.
Oh yeah.
So I enjoyed that and I was good at it, but I hired Ainsley, a 23-year-old cute blonde girl, to be my assistant. And she was awesome, but I was a horrible manager, horrible at showing her what winning looked like, horrible at telling her what needed to be done every day. I was horrible at hiring. She wasn't a good fit for the role. So I failed her in every way I could possibly fail her. And then we kind of parted ways in a year or so. I mean, hiring is a completely different animal that I could talk about for
So
45 minutes or so.
So did you hire her just as like an assistant position, or were you like already trying to hire out acquisitions or dispositions, or?
No, just as an assistant. I think that's a big mistake people make, is trying to hire out acquisitions too early. People, the first thing they do, you see people get a couple deals and then they want to hire an acquisitions manager. And
Mhm.
that's where the magic's made, man. That's why you've had success, is because you're good at that. You can't hand off the most important job of your entire company as your first hire. She was an assistant helping me with marketing, helping me with admin stuff, paperwork, closings, that sort of thing.
Got
And
it.
I was just way too chaotic for her at the time.
Got it. So I
That's
think,
pretty big of you to take all of the blame for yourself. That's to admit that. That's pretty big of you, because a lot of people at your age would not have done that. So you're
Pat,
way ahead of the game in a
absolutely.
lot of areas. I'm
Pat,
already feeling that.
your chances are you're successful because you take that personal responsibility. Not one
Absolutely.
time did I hear you blame that young lady.
Yeah.
You took responsibility yourself, and that speaks volumes. So sorry
Yeah.
to
I mean,
cut anybody off, but I
appreciate
definitely,
that.
as soon as you said that I noticed that. So very good.
Yep.
I mean, if you guys haven't read Extreme Ownership yet, too, that's another great one by Jocko Willing. But we had another massive failure in Yellowbird in 2018 when we started all this marketing stuff. Is, the same. Like there's not bad teams. There's only bad leaders, in my opinion. And sometimes people need to go, right? Sometimes you need to fire people because they're not a good fit. But I'm a true believer of that, and that if there's not bad teams, there's only bad leaders.
I agree 100%.
job.
I love it, man. I love it. That's why I really look up to you, Pat. I could feel that from you. So, my next question is, in hindsight, knowing what you know now, if you had to start again at square one in today's world, what would you do differently?
That's an interesting question, because I talk about it with the Peapod guys, and my conversation with them is always, this is what I would do if I was starting from zero. And to be honest with you,
also let me just add to that. It's it's in today's world, because if you were starting fresh back then in 2013, social media wasn't as big as it was, right? And everything. So also, wanted to add that in today's world. Just keep that in mind.
I would tell you something. I would do a lot of things really similarly, not because I'm super smart and had the foresight to do it, but just because the way it happened with me. My highest and best use at the time was finding deals. I could, if I wanted to, I could have done all those deals on my own. I could have went out and got hard money. I could have found contractors and done my own flips. Instead, I linked up with Kyle back then.
Sure.
And we did a couple of deals together, and they worked really well. And I was like, man, what if I just focus on marketing and finding deals, and you provide the capital and construction resources, and we just blow it out like that. So I was able to do 67 deals my first year in real estate, because I didn't have to mess with hard money. I didn't have to mess with construction, didn't have to mess with dispo. The only thing I was focused on was finding deals. So what would I do now is I would find someone that's willing to partner with me on my deals, maybe find a couple people, and there's a handful of people in Jacksonville, and I'm sure all markets, that would be happy to partner with you if you have deals.
Mm-hmm.
And I would find the most cutting edge method of marketing that's the cheapest, which right now, by far, it's not going to be legal for much longer, but it's buying lists and text blasting people. It is allowing people that have no money and no real budget to compete with people like us that are spending tons of money on postcards and cold callers and all this. Text blast is cheap. It's dirt cheap. And if you can find good lists and get good data, and spend time combing, you don't even have to pay for lists too, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can comb the Jack property appraiser or the property appraiser in your market. The biggest cost to you is going to be skip tracing them, but you can text blast them. You can call them with Mojo Dialer. And it's all very, very cheap. So I would be doing the most cutting edge method of compete, the cheapest to compete with the big guys, which right now I think is cold calling and texting. And I would be partnering or wholesaling every single deal that came through. I would not be messing with hard money. I would not be messing with construction. And that's, that would be if you wanted to get to make money as fast as possible and get to the next thing.
Sure.
But obviously, if your goal is to hold some stuff or do your own flips, you want to build a flipping company, that's a good way to get capital quick and learn quickly.
Yeah.
So maybe either way, that's a great way to start. It's just wholesale everything.
And man, I would be scared if you were starting fresh today, because you would be one hard competitor, man. Geez, you got a strong personality. I'm really enjoying this, by the way, Pat. Thank you so
Me
much for being
too.
here, man. I
No
really
problem,
appreciate
man.
it, brother. My next question for you is, who is your mentor?
Well, the obvious one is my two business partners, Kyle and Steve. They've been a lot around, been in this business much longer than I have. And I'm actually the keynote speaker at Connect this next week. And one thing about me is I don't posture or try to be someone that I'm not. Kyle and Steve been around a lot longer than I have. I've only really been in it full time I've been dabbling for a while, but focused full time 5.5 years or so. So they've helped me a lot, and they've taken me to another level. And now I seek, not that I suck them dry of everything they have, but now I'm reaching out and seeking people higher. And I don't know if you guys know, have you ever heard of DLP Real Estate Capital and Don Wenner? So
No.
Incredible company, incredibly run company. And Don is a mentor of mine, and he helped me take that next step to the next level. And that's hiring great employees, hiring great people. He's the one that allowed me to take that step up and implement EOS and, figure out the company thing.
So cool, man. So cool. Yeah. And I didn't take it at all that you sucked them dry. I mean, I think if we were to ask them right now, they would say that they grew so much because of you and would attribute a lot of the success to you. So good on you for that. Mike had a question for you.
Sure.
Yeah, hey, Pat. Quick question for you. I was actually in a similar meeting like this over Zoom the other day, and listening to a guy who was talking about wholesaling. I don't consider myself a wholesaler. I'm really more of an opportunist investor, right? Find the right opportunity. I'm very strategic, very targeted, been in sales for 25 years. Well, he made a comment about marketing cost, and he was directing it at wholesalers. And I found it actually kind of more of a red flag, but I found it very interesting. He said that you should be spending 85% of your time as a wholesaler and 85% of your money on marketing, trying to keep your pipeline full. I just thought that was an outstanding percentage. Typical marketing costs, are not that high. What's your opinion on that?
Well, I can tell you this. I don't know. I can't really comment on the 85% because we operate a little differently, and I'm not sure exactly what a wholesaler balance sheet would look at like, because honestly they don't really hold much. So I'm not sure exactly what the 85 would look like. What I can tell you is a wholesaler absolutely needs to be spending a ton of money on marketing if they're going to take it to the next level. It's part of the compound effect. So I spend roughly $120,000 a month on marketing. And this past month, I only got a couple of deals from that. Does that mean that the month after I pull it back because my cost per contract is slowly keeping up? No, you have to believe in what you're doing, trust your people, and have stay with the consistency with the marketing budget. What you were saying, so stay consistent with it. At the same time, it's competitive right now, especially being a wholesaler. So my cost per contract in 2017, when I got started with postcards, was very consistent. And what I mean by cost per contract was marketing dollars that needed to be spent in order to get a deal. It was like clockwork. $2,000 in postcards got me a $25,000 flip every single time. So what did I do? I spent a ton of money and I got that $2,000 return every single time. Now I'm closer to like $6,500 or so of marketing for a contract. And those numbers slowly creep up. They slowly creep down. This business is so cyclical. You're going to have good months. You're going to have bad months. So staying consistent. If you're a wholesaler, absolutely, you have to have a solid marketing budget each month. You have to be tweaking it each month to make sure you're doing the right things, make sure you're getting a return, but you can't pull back when you have one bad month, because it's going to compound over time. And there's going to be 3 months down the road where your marketing from 3 months ago hit, and then you hit 10 deals that month. So that would be my message is watch your
Awesome.
numbers, make sure you're making money off the stuff you're doing. One KPI we track is money in, money out. $1 in marketing equals X in net profit. So watching that number, solely watching that number will allow you to scale profitably. And that's what we've done to go from 50,000, 60,000, 70, bring it up each month. We're watching that number of money in, money out. And as long as you have a machine that every time you put $1 in, it spits out 4, why wouldn't you keep going?
Well said.
Yeah.
Well
Woohoo.
said.
Deal. Thank you.
Tao had a question as well. I'd love to hear it.
Hey, Pat. My question is that given that we talk a lot about habits and, this book is a lot about establishing a habit and a schedule that works for you, that is consistent, what is your suggestion for a wholesaler that has a job as well in terms of a weekly day-to-day operation to make it a successful business that is consistent?
Sure.
Like in terms.
Yep. I mean, I'm a perfect person to answer that question because that's exactly what I do in the Peapod. Is that one of the first tasks they do? Everyone has a day job that comes in the mentorship group. So you're no different. They always complain about not having time. And what I make them do is I have what I call an alignment sheet that I make all the Yellowbird people fill out too. It's a long-term goal setting sheet. It also has your schedule broken down in an Excel file. And I make them fill in with different colors when they're busy or when they're at work or family time. And then we go through it and I pick it apart and say, what are you doing here? What are you doing there? And I can always scrape out 5 to 10 hours every week. That's Netflix time or bullshit time or this and that. So it's getting disciplined and getting real with yourself and actually drawing out your schedule. I have mine drawn out and I share it with all the Yellowbird people so they know where I am at any time. And then once you commit to these 3-hour time blocks of cold calling or answering text message, having the discipline and the grit to stick with it long term. Because I have a Peapod guy, that son of a bitch works so hard and it's been like 6 months and nothing's come through. And then boom, he got 2 deals this week. And he's a Peapod guy from 6 months ago because he stayed consistent with his schedule and started small and he was doing 8 hours a week. Which he also has children but he carved out 8 hours a week with a full-time job and kids because it was that important to him. So carving out schedule, figuring out your why is it important for you to do this, and having discipline and grit to stay with it and stick with your long-term goals.
Love it, dude. Very concise. I like that. Great answer, Pat. Thank you so much, man. I actually had a question kind of along the lines of that. I wanted to know, Pat, what's a daily habit that you have that you can attribute to the success that you've had so far?
It's a recent one. First one, when I was first getting started, is consistent with my power hour. So, I actually did a power 3 hours every morning because I didn't have to manage people back then. I just had to worry about finding deals. So I could spend 3 hours every morning doing follow-up, calling new people. Really, it was all follow-up because I was handling $40,000 worth of postcards just on my phone. So I'd have calls coming in and follow up and everything, but I would just focus on lead gen for 3 hours every morning. That was the first one. And most recently, if you guys haven't read the 5 a.m. Club, Robin Sharma, it's a really good one. It's a little woo-woo and kind of it's kind of fiction, but has a good message to it. We read it in our book club. And I get up early. I get up really early, between 5 and 5:30 every morning. Not because I love waking up early, or not because not because it's the trendy thing to do now to wake up early. Because it's having 2 kids, 2 young girls. It's first off the only time I have to myself, ever, all day. So that's number one. And number 2, I just feel better. If you get up, there's scientific evidence that if you get up and you sweat early in the morning, work hard, whether it's lift heavy weights or run fast, you're going to have a less stressful, more clear day. It's stereotypical for entrepreneurs for a reason, because it works. And when I do wake up early, and I hate it, but I've made it a habit. I hate it at the time, but I have better days. Your workout's done in the morning, you have less stress. You've cleared your mind. You're not rushing to do anything. You can take your time, eat breakfast, hang out with your kids. I wake my daughter up at 7 every morning. We're not rushing her to school because I wake her ass up early. And it makes my whole day and my whole life better. It is by far the best habit I've implemented in the past 2 years.
Love it. So that 1 hour time block, when do you do that? Do you do that in the morning, your power hour, or is that in the evening?
I have been really bad with my power hour recently because we've had some extreme growth at Yellowbird. We thought, we're 145 days into the year. We just went over numbers today. We've bought 165 houses. So we have people working double time, and I'm kind of get crushed with the whirlwind of everything. So I have fallen off of my consistent power hour. I haven't been able to hang on to it anymore. And that's because we've grown too quickly and I'm very strict with hiring, and I'm very picky about people, and we haven't been able to hire the help we need to take it to the next level. So I'm very much in the weeds right now.
Well, that's a good problem to have, but when it was going, when did you do your power hour?
9 to noon.
Nice. So cool, man. Awesome. Jenny, you had a question.
Yeah. Hey, Pat. Thanks for being here with us. We really appreciate it. I actually have 2 questions if we have time for it.
I could ask 2.
So my first question is, you kind of mentioned who your mentors were, but as you were progressing through this, were there any mentorships or masterminds that you invested in that you recommend, or that that there was like a big takeaway that you got from, or, for people who are newly into wholesaling, like ones that you would recommend?
So the one I got the most out of is probably not going to be the best one for being new to wholesaling. And there's going to be different mentorship groups depending on where you are in the path. I did recently join a group. I'm not 100% sold on it yet, to be honest. It's called GoBundance. And there's a net worth minimum to it, but there's also this group called Emerge that is, it's a lower net worth, and it's getting people up to whatever it is. I don't even know what the actual number is. And people have had some really good. People have said really good things about it. I don't love organizations that kind of force you to drink Kool-Aid. And it feels a little bit Kool-Aid-y to me. By far the best. Networking and doing stuff like that, it's worth swallowing your pride, because seeing what other people are doing and getting that motivation, it has propelled me more just as much as reading. I mentioned a mentor of mine, Don Winter, the biggest growth that I have had. So I was lucky to have Kyle to take me, for the wholesaling tips and mentorship I needed to go to the next level. I needed Don as far as running an organization, scaling, how to hire, how to organize your days, how to organize, if you have this organization, how do you hold people accountable and take things to the next level? And his event is called LP Elite. It's a mastermind group I'm a part of. So there's not a good one, I would say, for starting wholesaling that I can recommend. I know they're out there, and you should find them and be a part of them. At the same time, as I'm talking, you'd almost be fine in a general business mastermind, and then just staying consistent with your podcasts and the bigger pocket stuff, because that stuff's all gold too, and it's free. So there's tons of good free stuff out there, and being around people is awesome too. So check out Emerge and see if that's a good fit for you.
No, I appreciate that. Actually, me, Tao, and Michael are actually all in the same mentorship with Wholesale Hackers Mentorship. I don't know if you know Brent Moreno and Adam Johnson. They're here in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. We've been a part of them, but I still like to know what, like, people who have been in the business, what kind of like mentorships, masterminds they're going to. So that's why I was just curious if you've been involved in other ones. But my second question was, what has been your biggest challenge you've needed to overcome, or whether it was starting out or, you mentioned like your growth in your business. I'm just curious, what's your biggest challenge been?
Great question.
So I got lucky because of my start date, because I started in 2016. I'm naturally a higher B person. I can read empathy. I can read people. I'm a good salesperson. So I was in 2016, the market was different. I was able to spend $2,000 in postcards and go out and convince somebody to sell their house to me. So that wasn't the biggest challenge. The biggest challenge was swallowing my pride and not having to be the guy that went out and got the deal every time. Because if you're the guy that goes out and gets the deal every time, and you're in the whirlwind, and you're the guy that's always talking to the sellers and always, fixing problems and have to have your hands in everything, you're never going to be able to take it to the next level. But you kind of have that ego thing of, man, there's someone else that can go out there and do it just as good as me. And getting over that and letting someone else doing that and training them to do that and letting go of the vine. If you guys have read Traction, letting go of that vine and putting people in the right seats to succeed has been my biggest challenge. And it's still not completely resolved, but now I have two people that go out and sign deals up, and I truly believe that they're better than me. They're better than me face to face. They just are. They've gone on more at this point where they're going on so many appointments. They've probably gone on more appointments face to face than I have.
Wow.
So they've seen every type of seller. They've seen every objection. So shifting my focus from being a guy that drove revenue to a guy that is now supporting the people that are driving revenue and looking forward, towards where we're going in the future. That shift for me was difficult. And it is still difficult because I'm still in the whirlwind and trying to hire correctly and put people in the right spots and manage personalities. It's just a different challenge.
Yeah. I mean, you can tell that you've done so much work just on yourself in order to, be able to get past that challenge, because that's huge, man. So thank you for sharing and being vulnerable. I think Amanda had a couple questions too.
Yeah. My first one is, do you hire people in different states, or do you work just in Florida?
Just in Florida.
Okay.
I like having people in the office every day.
Okay.
We have a morning huddle at 8:45, and I can see if people are off. If my two girls that are answering the phone are off, I can see it at 8:45, and I'll pull them aside and go, "What the fuck's going on? Why is your face look like this today? Why are you off?" And you can see it. You can see it in people when they're off in the morning. So
yeah. Good.
We have a VA in the Philippines, but she just does kind of admin stuff. So
cool.
But everyone's in the office.
Cool. My other one is generally speaking, I have a son who's almost 17 who has a giant entrepreneurial heart and spirit, and he is right on the verge of having some great things happen in his life. And I'm hoping that I can get him to watch this video of this meeting so that he can listen to you, because you've said some great things that I think would be very helpful for him, very beneficial. As a young person, where would you start for, damn, my question, it just fell apart.
Let me answer it, because I think I know what it is. I think he should find the person who he wants to be, whether it's someone that owns 10 rental properties, someone that's wholesaling 1 or 2 houses a month. Find the person that's the next level down the path he's going to, and go and work for them for free and add value. And I know that's kind of a cop out of an answer, because you guys have probably heard that before, but I mean, that's exactly what I did. Exactly what I did. I got connected to Kyle and Steve through I was trying to work for other people for free, and it was just like, yeah, just why don't you meet this guy? And me and Kyle just got along really well, and it poured gasoline on my growth. There's no way that, I've made them a lot of money, yes, but I could have never done it without them. And I will be forever grateful for the support that they've had. And I was lucky enough at the time that I was really good with my money offshore. So I didn't need a paycheck. So I kind of, had leverage over them, right? I'm coming to work for free. I'm providing them all these houses and I'm not asking anything. So it puts them in like kind of a weird spot. And we're like, shit, like we don't want to lose him, but like, what do we do? Like, so if you can provide value to someone that can help you take it to the next level, especially as a 17-year-old that's hungry and wants to go out and get it, I think and it doesn't have to be real estate, right? It can be whatever he's into. Whether it's
he's not into real estate.
Whatever it is.
He loves houses, but he's not into real estate, but he is on the verge of breaking into some really great stuff where his passion is. And where would like books. I wish I could get him to just listen to that Jim Quick book that we just went through. It's like, just listen to it. Take it with you, listen to it. I keep telling him that. Did you listen to any of that today? Did you read any of that today? So
I think you answered that so well, Pat.
You did perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Definitely modeling and maybe that person isn't even alive, right? But people are still alive in their writings and their books. So becoming an avid reader is something that I think Pat would agree with as well.
Oh, no brainer.
Pat,
also wanted to comment real quick.
Sorry.
Kidding, but you got Henry on this call too, who's another successful realtor, wholesaler, flipper, property owner in Jacksonville. So he could, maybe he could agree with me on some stuff, disagree with me on some stuff.
Chime in.
Might be good to chime in and have some different perspectives on the question you're asking, because me and Henry kind of took different paths. So
love it. This next question is going to be
Henry.
This next question is going to be perfect for both of you then. And Pat, thanks for highlighting Henry here. For sure. Henry, it's good to meet you, man. I'm sorry that this is the first time we're meeting is over a screen. I would love to meet you face to face, man, but I'm glad you're here with us. My question is, and I would love to hear from both of you, Pat and Henry, is what can one expect the vacancy average to be per year here in Jax?
0.
Okay.
Great.
0 or very close to it. So,
I agree with Pat on that.
Along with the real estate market, the rental market is going out of freaking control right now. So we put up a crappy house in the hood for $900 a month, and we have 20 applications in 2 hours. It is.
Wow.
So yes, you're gonna have vacancy just because of tenant turns and stuff and issues, and you'll have some, but my rentals at the beach are rentals in the hood. It's the same as trying to buy it's not as bad as trying to buy a house. I feel bad for if you're trying to buy a house right now, but the poor people that are just trying to rent an affordable house for their family, it's just affordable housing is a huge issue nationwide right now. But Jax is just, I feel bad for people. 20 applications on a house in not a great area of town. I'm sure Henry, have you been seeing the same thing?
Yeah, definitely. It's not hard to rent a house out right now, especially if it's been renovated well. I mean, even if it's not renovated well, people are just trying to find a place to live. So yeah, I agree with Pat on that. But I mean, I put my stuff on cozy.com, which is now apartments.com, and syndicated to Zillow and realtor.com and all the other places that market your rentals. And I mean, it's gone. It's rented in like probably a day or two. And I tell people up front, look, these are the qualifications. Don't waste your money applying for the credit check and the background check. And I mean, we usually get like a couple of ideal candidates, and it's gone just like that. It's not hard. It's really not hard to rent a property out right now. And if you're having a vacancy, then you're just not putting in the right places to advertise it.
That's a positive thing to hear.
Yeah.
Ashley had a question.
Okay, so my question is there an area in your life right now you're looking to gain more wisdom in or more growth in?
Great question.
I'm always striving to learn and read more about leadership. If you guys have ever read any of Aubrey Marcus's stuff, the On It guy, he gave a really cool talk at a GoBundance event about how his company grew as he grew as a leader. You know, as he became worthy to have 20 employees, 50 employees, 100 employees, the growth almost came naturally. And I've seen that personally. The reason Ainsley didn't work out was because I wasn't personally grown enough to be able to handle an assistant. Now I'm, at that brink of 12 to 15 people, and I feel like I'm ready now to take on the next group of people. And I hired 4 awesome people this week, but knew in my gut that they weren't the right fit for me. I should start a business of supplying title companies with processors, because I think I've done that. I think I'm the biggest supplier of processors to the title companies in Jacksonville, because they're great people and they have great profiles, but they're not the culture fit that I need, the growth minded, the right person. So there's no specific area, I would say, Ashley, other than the fact that I am always switching what I'm reading. The next one's a leadership book, but I just read a book, which I actually don't recommend. It's called Strong Fathers, Strong Daughters. I have 2 young daughters, and it's not very, I didn't really like it, but I read books on being a better dad, being a better husband, being a better leader, being a better manager. And I'm growing in all aspects, and I don't think there's one single thing. And what I'll attribute that to, again, is we talk about the 4 different parts of Yellowbird. One of them's strategy, one of them's people, one of them's acceleration, and one of them's systems. And in order to scale, they all need to be growing at the same time. When one of them is off, then the whole company's off. Right now, people is at a low because we don't have enough people, but our acceleration and our systems are high. So we feel off. We feel not in step because everything isn't level. And I think that's the same thing with personal growth. You can't read a bunch of books on leadership and expect to be this phenomenal leader. You have to be reading mindset books about meditation, books about spirituality. And that's going to make you the well-rounded leader and well-rounded person to be able to get to where you want to go.
Love it. So inspiring.
Great answer.
Yeah. Better person overall.
I got a question now for another one about the market for Pat and Henry. How difficult and lengthy are evictions here in Jax, and what can you expect to spend?
So there's a couple different ways we do it. Evictions, if you're going to evict someone for non-payment of rent and they file a CDC form, I still don't think you can evict them. I think Joe Biden has pushed it out again. So if someone has a lease and they're not paying rent and they file a CDC form, whether they're lying or whether they're truthful, you can't evict them. Okay. The way we've gotten around it is we've not evicted people, but we've done non-renewals, and judges are taking the non-renewal cases and they're giving you writ of possession and kicking people out. The non-renewals cost about $500. We're also doing unlawful detainers when the person is just a squatter or I have no landlord-tenant relationship with that person whatsoever. It's a lawsuit rather than I guess an eviction's a lawsuit too, but it's a different type of lawsuit called an unlawful detainer. They cost $850 with Dwayne Romanella. He's the man. And it's basically you're suing the person to get them out of the house. And those have been going through just fine, even if they claim that they were affected by coronavirus, which let's be honest, we're not kicking people out of the houses that are affected by coronavirus. We're kicking out squatters that have been there for 5 years and have torn families apart because they've moved in with elderly people and they're just slimy people. So those are the people we're kicking out. So I have no remorse for anyone that we're kicking out of houses, but that's how we're getting around it, hunters, unlawful and non-renewals.
And then what can you expect like on a timeline on that? Like if you did the unlawful detainer, let's say.
Depending on how smart the person is in the house, I would say 2 to 4 months.
Wow. Henry, do you have anything to add to that?
You're the same, Henry?
Yeah, well, I guess I've been lucky so far. I haven't had to do any evictions yet, but I also don't have as many doors as Pat and Kyle do. Not there yet, anyways. But I have done an unlawful detainer on one of my deals that the seller didn't even know about when I went and looked at the property. He thought it was vacant. He said, "Yeah, go see it anytime you want." And so I pull up, drove way out to Keystone Heights, like an hour drive from my house, and noticed the curtains rustling, and I'm like, "What in the heck? There's not supposed to be anybody here." And then sure enough, they open the door and say, "Hey, come on in. You can see the house, but we have a verbal agreement with the owner." And I'm like, "Really? Okay." Well, the seller didn't know about
Wow.
that, but so I had to. I told the seller, "Look, I'll take it as is," and he had a really low, like insanely low price. I bought like a mobile home with an acre of land for $5,000, and I sold it for $24,000.
Hey yo.
Couple weeks later after I got rid of them. But anyways, yeah, I had to do an unlawful detainer suit. I used Al Nicoletti, which is he's a great attorney here in Jacksonville, real estate attorney. And I think I paid him $900. He had it served. He had the writ served. I think he had it all done in a week. It was crazy. He's like really, he's an incredibly efficient, ambitious young real estate attorney. And so, yeah, I hired him for just about everything that I need to clear title that he can handle. But yeah,
Wow.
I've only done it once. I hadn't had to do an eviction yet. If I do have to like consider doing an eviction, I would try cash for keys first. And if they're too stupid to take free money to get out, then you got to go forward with the eviction. They'll get nothing. So I haven't had to do it yet, but I know who to hire if I have to.
Nice, man. So just to be clear, 1 week, that was from served papers to tenant out?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was fast.
Wow.
That's really fast. That's incredible.
It was really fast.
Really
Hey,
fast.
I got a question for you guys. What zip codes do you see having the most appreciation in the near future?
You want to take that, Pat, or you want me?
I have a quick answer. I think I think because of the hedge funds, you're going to see places like Yulee and Middleburg, 32068. People moving out of Jacksonville into nice, quieter suburban areas. The hedge funds are all over these towns. There's not enough inventory there, and there's newer inventory. So places like that, I have a feeling are going to be good, sustained. And this isn't mentioning the beach or anything, because the beach is just out of control. It's not even worth mentioning. Places worth investing in, like if you're going to buy a long-term rental, I think you're buying for a little less cash flow because they're a little more expensive. But I love Yulee and I love Middleburg.
Nice.
I'll tell you.
32068. And what's the Yulee zip code, Henry?
32097. That's where I live. Actually, really, I mean, it's incredible. There's literally no inventory in my neighborhood. I think there might be one house, and I think it's already pending. I mean, there's nothing in my neighborhood for sale.
That's crazy.
I agree with Pat though on the beaches. I mean, it's insane there. I mean, there's no good inventory at the beach anymore. That's renovated well and priced well. It's gone like that. Some other zip codes that have appreciated a heck of a lot since I started investing, and Pat and I started probably at the same time for, what was that, 4 years ago or so. 32208 is appreciating, like a lot of your lower class neighborhoods. A lot of them have started, once they started getting valuations over $100,000, and banks could start financing them for your retail buyers. That area started really appreciating. You've got a heck of a lot more investor activity. You have a lower barrier to entry because the properties are cheaper to buy, and so now the banks will finance them. You got a lot more appreciation happening because there's just a lot more demand in those areas for people to invest and get some really stupid returns on such a smaller investment. So barrier to entry is a lot lower there, and that's encouraging a lot of growth in those areas. 32209, even 32206, mixed, just a mixed bag area. But 32254, you're seeing a lot of new construction there. It's making the area appreciate like crazy. And then 32208, like certain pockets are definitely appreciating. Houses, you've got houses there for 150, even over $200,000. It's crazy. I never thought I would do that when I first started.
Wow,
4 or 5
awesome.
years ago.
Hell yeah. That was kind of a more of a personal question. We have a few people that are investing in Jacksonville, but that was kind of a personal one. I think Jimmy had a question, and then yeah, we'll go ahead and wrap it up after this.
Yeah. I want to say thanks again, Pat and Henry, for joining us. Very cool and extremely informative. So I appreciate it. When you guys are analyzing your deals for your buy and holds, do you guys have a target number for cash flow net per unit? Like per door, you guys aiming like $200, $150, $300?
It depends on the neighborhood. I mean, that's a big one for me, the location, the class type neighborhood, but I want at least 250 a door minimum.
And you're talking net.
Yes, I'm talking net. I'm talking after all expenses, you know, assuming a 40 to 50% expense ratio. If you're going to have property management, I'd underwrite at 50% expense ratio. I mean, I know that's probably really conservative, but it's where I try to land. And that's, I mean, we're talking after debt service, you know, principal, interest, taxes, insurance, and then I set aside reserves for maintenance every month too, for any kind of service calls, you know, equipment replacement, roof replacement. I set aside that monthly, and it stays in a savings account, on a rental account, bank account.
Here's what I would say. Here's what I would say to that is, I also be a little more big picture when you're thinking of what to buy. Think about what it looks like in 5 years. Do you want to buy in the hood where cash flow is a little better, lower class CD neighborhoods, or do you want to do a little less cash flow in more expensive areas like Yulee and Middleburg, which Yulee and Middleburg median home price is probably 200. So if you're doing some marketing and buying from wholesalers, you buy them for 175 or so, but they're better, newer houses that probably have a lot more upside, but less cash flow. So I would, you know, if I was starting over again and building my own rental portfolio, me personally, I'm staying out of the hood. And I'm trying to hit that 200 number on nicer houses, just because there's no advantage to me in owning hood long term. I don't love it. That it's tough to deal with tenants. The whole, you know, you don't have much appreciation. They're going to treat the houses worse. So rather than looking at per door, which is a good thing to look at, also look at big picture what you're trying to do.
Love it.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of my active income towards rentals too, because it's a great tax shelter. I mean, you get huge benefits from depreciating and, you know, all the expense that comes with rentals. It's a great write-off at the end of the day. I mean, I'm sure Pat and Kyle could probably, you know, be a testimonial to that. But yeah, cash flow. I try to do 250 a door, but people say the 1% rule. I try to beat the 1% rule. I don't really like going by that. I try to get 1.5 to 2% rule. So that's not easy to get those kind of deals, but I do not like going by the 1% rule. I like to leave more room for error, and there's always going to be error in the renovation. There's always going to be a cost overrun, and then there's going to be stuff that happens that you didn't really even take into account. You know, happens every time.
Yeah.
Awesome. Looks like we had one more question real quick from Aisha, Sacramento.
Yes, thank you so much. I thought it would be cut off. My sister and I are just now getting into real estate investing. She has a house in Indianapolis, Indiana. It's a duplex, and there's a lot of huge repairs that she's made to the house. It was built in 1939. She has one tenant that's not paying rent and another tenant that's kind of just a basket case. And so she does have a property manager, but they are very hands off. They've been in trouble. So she's trying to decide if she should just sell the house or fight this and stay the owner. And yeah, keep going.
Quick, just to add to that, what market is the property in?
The Little Flower. It's the Little Flower neighborhood in Indianapolis, Indiana. Yes,
I would say that's a personal decision you need to make. But along with what I was saying before, owning hood stuff, whether you have a property manager or not, you're going to continue to deal with this long term. So not as big of a deal if you own 100, but if you've made a ton of repairs to this house and you're emotionally invested in it and you have money in it and you see people treating it like crap and not paying rent, that's just going to wear on you. You know, what we just talked about in the book we read the Surrender Experiment. And we talked about your first loss being your best loss. So just selling it and getting out from under it may relieve, that's kind of just me listening to you talk about it, that would probably relieve a lot of stress. And you learned a massive lesson from it that you don't want to own in the hood anymore. And the good thing is, in this market, you may not have to take a massive loss on it either, right? You could probably break even or make a little money depending on where.
What we're thinking.
So it's a no-brainer for me. Get gone. If you don't want to deal with that class of person long-term, which is who you're going to be dealing with if you stay in the hood, like no one can property manage there either. You know, people say, yeah, buy whatever, buy in crappy areas, just have someone else manage it. That doesn't help you at all. Even 10%, paying these people 10%, it's not enough to deal with this class of person a lot of the times. So I would say sell it.
Thanks for validating our thoughts. Yeah.
Awesome. Listen, guys, Pat just spent over an hour with us on a Thursday night. He's got a wife. He's got 2 kids. Everyone, thank him so much. He's added so much value to this group. Just thank you so much, Pat. Really appreciate you being here, man. Henry, thank you so much for stopping by, man. Hey, if they wanted to reach out to you, if they maybe had some more questions or anything like that, I know you're a real helpful guy. How would they do so?
My email is easy. It's just Pat, P-A-T, at yellowbirdre.com. So Yellowbird Real Estate.
Love it.
What is it?
It's my first name, Pat, P-A-T. I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah, we'll add it there in the chat. Awesome, guys. Pat, any parting thoughts?
Continue to read. Little groups like this that Hunter has put together are, like I said in the beginning, I attribute everything great that's happened in my life to getting a new perspective from a book I read. And every single book I read, I learn more and get different perspectives. And I'm going down the stoicism path right now with I just read, if you guys haven't read The Obstacle is the Way, phenomenal short read on how to tackle problems and how to think about problems. And you guys talking about the property in Indiana, I'm sure that's a massive frustration in your mind, but all it is a problem. It's a real estate problem that can be solved. And really it's just an opportunity because you learn where you don't want to be and you're learning how to get out of a property that's in a bad situation. So rather than stress and be anxious about it, take action and learn from it. So reading and, growing emotionally will be by far better than any paid return you can get off a mentorship group or anything. So taking time to work on yourself, doing groups like this, so important. That's what I'd leave you with.
Love it, Pat.
You guys should definitely come to Yellowbird Connect. I'll be there. That's Pat and Kyle are good friends of mine. I mean, dude, Pat, I think we talk every day almost, sending you guys a deal. I mean, we just locked up another deal today, a Flynn. So yeah, man, I mean, you guys want to meet us and network, and man, I'd love to meet everybody on here. I'll be there next week. It's next Thursday? Is that right, Pat?
Yep, the 3rd. I think most of these guys aren't in Jacks though, Henry. They're all like
I'll be there.
I gotcha.
I'll be there.
Guys, live stream it.
I can't wait for that.
We're gonna try. Our people that used to run Connect are not with us anymore, so we're getting together the audio and trying to figure that out. And I will try to have somebody live stream it. But you should join the Yellowbird Connect Facebook group. It's called Real Estate Investors Yellowbird Connect. We keep all the spam and bullshit off it. So it's really good. It's a good resource for people asking questions and talking about the market and stuff. There's people all over the country that are in it, and we'll if we stream it, it'll be streamed in there.
Sweet. Yeah. Like I mentioned in the beginning, Yellowbird is one of the best Facebook groups I've ever seen in regards to real estate. So go ahead and guys, check that out. Give Pat some love. again, Pat, thank you so much for spending time with us, man. I really appreciate it. And have a fantastic night, brother.
For sure, man. I love that you post your book club stuff on the Yellowbird Connect site too. This adds so much value to people. So I would ask you to use it as a resource. There's 5,000 people on there that are seeing your posts, and maybe a good way for you to grow this into something a little bigger.
Thank you.
So I'd urge you to post on there.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Very good.
Thank you,
Well,
Pat.
good to
Thank
meet
you,
everybody.
Henry.
Thank you
you.
guys.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.